Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. Round 5 takes us to Donington Park in this Taco Tuesday series in the Pro category. I'm Tom Kent in the contra position, providing you with the details for tonight's running. We're in the final moments of practice. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying followed by a 60-minute race in store. Regards to what happened last week, Melvin Croes took his first win of the season. He didn't have it all his own way though. He had to fend off the likes of Craig Law and a couple of others. Ben Milden was in there too. He held it and be one out in the end in a photo finish, but at least give him half a chance in the championship. So then at Vogel had a race to forget though. He ended up eventually in 9th position. Gap at the top has come down to 6 points. Nico Busov was in 3rd position ahead of Craig Law. Jeffrey Godefroy in 5th position. Got 4 rounds to go in this championship, which is Donington tonight. Next week we go to Valencia, which will host the final 90-minute special. Soldo will play host to the penultimate round on August the 29th, and the season finale will be at Paul Ricard on September the 5th. Just watching Jordan Myler, the man who is fastest of all in this session. The rain has come down, which explains why some of the times may not be as representative as what a lot of them have done in the dry. There is a dry spell expected for the remaining 5 minutes of this session. Will be an opportunity for those who haven't got a quality lap on the board to get one in before qualifying does start. 23 drivers in the lobby, which is a little bit more than what we had last week. Only had 20 for Austin. Have joined us via the Twitch channel live. Feel free to get involved in the chat. If you are watching on catch up on the FRL YouTube channel, we do welcome you. .6 Jordan Myler has posted so far. Seen too much from him at the top end of Taco Tuesday this season so far. At Vogel returning towards the top with Jeffrey Godefroy obtaining a positive start to the season. Sixth places and 2 5th positions. Got the reigning champion involved tonight as well, Sean Cole, who's in 6th position so far. He's got no chance of retaining his title this time around. Failed to finish the first race at Monza. It's hardly featured ever since. Rain seems to have stopped now on circuit. It's just a matter of whether the circuit will dry up enough for the drivers to get a go on the slicks. before this session ends. There's just over 8 minutes to go. Air temperature 21 degrees, track temperature 25. Myler on top, Senate Volkel second. Jeffrey Godefroy, Ben Milden, Robert Vernke, Sean Cole, Demian van der Wel, Nico Busov, Josh Clayton and Ben Berryman. Top 10 places. We've got Will Rayner, Petra Postel, Brandon Glover. In 14th position is the 713 McLaren. This might be his first time competing in... No, it's not his first time. It would be called Ghost Assassin, but what you may notice is seeing the driver's surnames on screen rather than the PlayStation usernames or whatever. So Caruana. Currently from Malta as well. Prince is in 15th. Craig Law, Adrian Hanovich, Paul Freeman, Melvin Crows and Adam Sharp. Stuart Hodgson is in the lobby, as is Matteo Di Stefano and Mauro Arsenio. Go to Stuart Hutchinson, who will go on board with for a lap of this track, providing he makes no mistakes. So on to the pit straight to begin the lap of this Donington Park course just outside of Derby in the Midlands in the UK. Turn down to second gear, took a tight line through Redgate corner, and now he's coming down through the Craner curves up to fourth gear. Goes through the sweeping turns, then quickly upshifting to fifth, then down to third for the Craner curves. Wide a little bit, but just staying on the track. And uphill, heading towards the far or slow right-hander of McLean's. And then up towards Coppice in third gear, up to 180 kilometers an hour before breaking down. Braking and shifting down to second gear, 110 kilometers an hour before you apply the throttle once more onto Starkeys. And this is the chicane that takes you to the longer configuration of the course. And we've got Dunlop hairpin, which will be a first gear hairpin in these GT3 cars. Down to 50 kilometers an hour in first gear. Gently applying the throttle, probably because of the track conditions. And then we've got one last corner to go, which is Goddard's. You want to position the car towards the left, although Stuart actually applied a little bit too much speed going into the corner, but it stayed on the track and heading towards the line, and that's a lap of the Donington Park circuit in the Midlands. That time put Hudson in 21st position, over 8 seconds off the pace to the fastest time, but we had the rain hit the track midway through this practice session, so that's not by all means a representative time. Probably some good data for later on in case it is going to rain for qualifying. Those who haven't got representative times on the board may have a chance to change just that. Hutchinson goes off the circuit. Myler coming into, well, there's Myler there actually. We're into the last couple of minutes now. The track is continuing to dry as the sun is popping out now. The track conditions are damp, so these by all means are not going to be representative times to what they'll have had at the beginning of this practice session before we went on air. I'm sure Brandon Glover will want to just get some more mileage under his belt anyhow. Through the Craney curves. This is apparently called the old hairpin before you go through Starkey's Bridge. Love it, making his way through up towards McLean's now, or Coppice as it should be actually, by that camera angle. Going on to Starkey's Straight. Chicane. Glover will just be hoping to get one clean run. Stefano and Arseni are not going to be setting times in this session. Glover decides to head for the pits. Now we go to Luke Prentice in the 43 Ferrari. Podium finisher at Brands. Hoping to go one step further this time around at Donington. Home circuit for him. Francis going over the line to take the checker flag. It's no improvement on his time by any means. T33 on track as well. It's Melvin Crows, who's a better time on the board than what he's already done. Over 7 seconds off the pace. Doesn't improve this time around. We've got the 38 on track. Adrian Hanovich in the 38 Porsche. Through the S's. We're hoping clean session tonight. Just the mandatory pit stop involved in Taco Tuesday, with it being a 60-minute event tonight. Take it any time you like, really. Still 1 minute to go before the checkered flag. Hanovich crossing over the line now. That concludes practice. And now we go on to qualifying for round 5 of the championship. There's no points for pole position. I'm sure any driver would be more than happy to be starting at the head of the field for the race coming up. Stuart Hutchinson out on circuit. Ahead of him will be Jordan Myler. who was fastest in that practice session. Track conditions are much better than what they were. And in regards to what time the race now, it's at 2 PM actually. And there's a bollard being kicked up there by one of the cars. I couldn't quite tell who that was that actually hit that bollard. Not that it really matters anyway. So Myler aiming for pole. He's at the head of the field anyway, with no one in front potentially, although there are still a number of cars exiting the pit lane now. Last thing Myler will want is being held up in traffic. D37 hang out of the pits, that's Adam Sharp, and the only driver stuck in the pit lane at the moment, that is the number 52 of Matteo Di Stefano. Stefano, who has already tasted victory this season. Go with Myler round this course. Stuart Hudson right behind. Hoping for a good race this evening. Six points is the gap in the championship between Zdenek Vorkl and Nico Busov. There it's Jeffrey Godefroy in third place. Another 6 points adrift with Ben Mills in fourth. And Mauro Arsenio in fifth position. Melvin Croser's victory moved him up to sixth. It's now 32 points off the top. Still a fair chance of clawing his way back in the title battle. But he needs a good run of form to make that happen. And hope that his rivals all crumble in the run-in to the campaign. So Myler goes to the top with a 127.8, and it's Vorkl in P2. Nearly 3/10. Joe Craiglaw beats him to second position. He was able to set a 128.0. Milden goes top, 127.5 from the Brit. So that's an encouraging start to his session. Will Freeman is currently in P6. Adrian Hanovich is off the pace at the moment, nearly 2 seconds off the man who is in P1. Just waiting on a number of drivers to head over the line. We've got the 518 of Ben Berryman heading over the line now. Where is this going to put him? And it's P7 for the Ferrari pilot. We'll go to Sean Cole actually, who's just posted the 7th fastest time. His time was a 128.3. He's moved up the order, no problem. Hutchison in 17th place now because the last time he posted previously was invalidated. Hostel going over the line, hoping to move up the order here. It's only 18th right now. Busov yet to get a time on the board, as is Van der Waal, as is Di Stefano, as his Arsenio. Mauro Arsenio, who's had a tricky time of it last week, well out of sync with the others, but at least he brought the car home in 16th place and bagging important points. So coming on to the pit straight now, can Arsenio move up the order with this lap? He's probably just starting one actually. Di Stefano, who was the last driver to leave the pits, heads over the line. Hutchison is still yet to get a time on the board. He invalidated on that second run. Vorkl is top, 127.3. And Myler is down to P2 by a couple of hundredths. He's got a little bit of work to do. Ben Milden in P3 now. Busov 4th. Van der Waal finding some time up to 5th place. And we've got Godefroy and Law, Hanovic, Prentice and Kroos. So we've got the 68 crossing over the line now. That is Postle, who's hoping to improve on his time. Well off the pace at the moment. And he does improve his time and he moves up a position to 19th. Caruana down to P20. And Hudson runs wide and that'll be his lap time invalidated, unfortunately. There is Arsenio hoping to move up the order here. Vogel has improved his time further. He's now on a 1:27.1. Milden moves up to 2nd place now in the BMW. 1:27.2 for him. It's Myler 3rd, Busov 4th, Van der Waal 5th. And Kroos has briefly moved up to 4th place, but he's down to 6th now because Busov has pushed him down, as has Arsenio. Arsenio is up to 5th position. So just 2 drivers make that 1 now because Matteo Di Stefano has gone up to 19th position. Leaves Stewart with some work to do. So we now, at the end of the session, to get a time on the board. But it's so far so good for Vogel, who is aiming for 3 pole positions out of 5. So Myler goes to the top now with a 1:26.9 in the Ferrari. He was able to improve, no problem. And Busov is trying to improve on his time as well. Busov goes into the round 2nd in the championship, 6 points behind Vogel. So he could do with finishing ahead of him, Donington. So we are seeing a number of drivers heading over the line, aiming to improve. Busov heads for the pits. And Arsenio has gone up into 2nd place now. Vogel down to 3rd place. And Hudson's got time on the board now, albeit in 23rd and last position. Number 39. Crossing over the line, that is Robert Vernken. He's gone 15th. Got the number 69 of Brandon Glover going over the line now. He's gone up to 15th place, knocking Vernken down the order. Got the number 500 of Clayton remaining in P20. He's got some work to do from where he is. And we've got the 433 of Van der Waal not able to move up. Number 21 of Myler heading over the line. And it was not an improvement from before, so he stays where he is. Here is Zdeněk Vogel, hoping to improve on his time from before. 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. The sun shining all around the circuit. Perfect for motor racing. Vogel looking to make the most of it as he makes his way round Melbourne hairpin. There's Goddard's hairpin to make his way through. Now, is this time going to be good enough for him to go back to provisional pole? We'll find out in a moment as he goes over the line. And it was not an improvement from before. Vogel stays in P3. Milden hoping to move up the order from where he is in 4th place. Busov isn't too far behind him either, as he's coming round Goddard's as well. Milden goes over the line. He doesn't go up the order. Busov, a couple of cars behind the Brit. He does not improve either. Got the 43 of Luke Prentice going over the line, and he doesn't improve. Now we've got the 52 of Di Stefano, who needs an improvement from before. And he does not go up the order this time around. Hanovic 1 second off the pace. He doesn't improve either. There's not any improvements happening in the times. And Godefroy's down to 11th place. I can see that Brandon Glover, I think, has moved up the order. He's in P8 now. Will Freeman's up to 5th. So he's finding time somewhere. It's paid dividends for him. Sean Cole, the reigning champion, in P17. Low by his standards as Volkel goes over the line to start another lap. Got the 5.18 coming through. That is Ben Berryman. No position change for him. And Arsenio's gone to the top. 126.8. I've only just noticed that. He's pushed Jordan Myler down the order into P2. So Mauro Arsenio is on provisional pole here in Donington with 3.5 minutes to go. Van der Waal goes up to 8th with his latest lap. Just watching out to see who actually does move up the order. Because Stefano has gone up to 16th now. Arsenio looking to improve his time. Myler has improved his time but does not go back to provisional pole. Who else is on laps? .147 of Jeffrey Godefroy coming round Goddard's. And he's hoping to improve his grid position. He goes up to 10th place, which is a respectable effort. Freeman up to 4th in the Mercedes AMG. Ahead of Milden and Busov. Brandon Glover coming over the line in the Lamborghini. Does he go up the order from where he is in 9th? He does not. Number 5 coming through of Will Rayner. He stays in 20th place. But I want to go to Milden and Busov. Both of them are coming through Goddard's now. There's Milden. He'll get another go at this. No improvement there. Can Busov improve from 6th place? He cannot either. Luke Prentice in the number 43 Ferrari coming round. And he goes... Go up the order there? No, he doesn't. Di Stefano does though, up to 14th. 237 crossing over the line. Arsenio is still top of the timing pages. So we see Vorkel. Freeman's in the pits at the moment, so he's not going to be improving his time. Vorkel third right now, looking to get back onto pole, but at least he's ahead of Busov, his nearest championship rival. Vorkel does not go up the order, but will get one more go at it. Into the last minute we go. Will Rayner save the line for his last run. 5.18 of Ben Berryman. Over the line as Verka goes 15th. Berryman stays where he is. Sean Cole goes up to 11th. That's a big improvement from where he was. He was 19th a moment ago, now he's 11th. Onto the 6th row of the grid. Vorkel running in 3rd place. Hoping to improve on where he is. And I can say that Van der Waal's moved up to 6th place. Busov down to P7. We're on their last runs now. Got the number 38 coming round to complete what could be his last lap actually. And that's Adrian Hanovic. He completes his last lap and he's only 15th. Disappointed with that, I would have thought. Godefroy only 10th. Got the 21 of Jordan Myler hoping to improve. He did improve his time by a small fraction, but still not enough to displace Mauro Arsenio. Craig Law is up to 3rd place with his latest lap. And he got over the line before the checker flag, but Vorkel goes to the top, right at the end. So Vogel is ahead of Arsenio, but Arsenio is on a lap. And you just got to hope he doesn't get held up on his final run. Will Rain across the over the line, he doesn't improve. Law is in the pits, Freeman's in the pits. Milden's come around to complete his last effort. And he does not improve. He stays in P6. Busov is in the pits, as is Van der Waal. So it all comes down to Mauro Arsenio. Is he able to knock Zdeněk Vogel off pole position here at Donington Park? On around Melbourne Hairpin, it didn't look like the sweetest of lines through that. Don't think he's going to improve on this lap unless he finds the greatest of final sectors. Arsenio crossing over the line now. He does not improve. And that is very much that. We've got another car heading over the line. But that won't change things, I would have thought. So that leaves Zdeněk Vogel on pole position for the third time this season. With Mauro Arsenio in P2. We've got Jordan Myler in P3 ahead of Craig Law, who produced a brilliant lap to put himself in P4. Will Freeman in a strong fifth ahead of Ben Milden in safe. Denver Van der Waal and Nico Busov on the fourth row with Melvin Crows, last week's race winner, in ninth ahead of Jeffrey Godefroy. Sean Cole in 11th, followed by Brandon Glover. That's Josh Clayton and Adam Sharp. Adrian Hanovich and Luke Prentice on row 8. Matteo Di Stefano and Robbo Fernke on row 9. Ben Berryman and Will Rayner rounding out the top 20. Then we've got Caruana and Petrol Postel on the 11th row. And at the back, on his own, is Stuart Hutchison in 23rd place. Hoping for a treat in the race later on. We don't know what the weather conditions are going to be offering. I'm sure whatever we're going to have should be a race to remember. If you have joined us, we do welcome you. Do feel free to get involved in the live chat if you ever so wish to do so, if you're watching on Twitch. Freeman just coming in saying that he has his best taco quality since he switched from PS4 to PS5, so that is an encouraging sight for Will, the man from France. Been involved in lobbies on Sunday in the expanded grid, which could well be in place for next season in Taco Tuesday. What I mean by that is we could well see a 40-car grid, because I think in some weeks the servers haven't been filled with the maximum number of drivers that they can have. Whereas next season it could well decrease the tier system from 3 to 2. We would have a Pro category and an AM category. This is the Pro category tier, in case you're all wondering. Raring to go for the start of this race. The track is greasy at the moment. It could well improve as the race gets underway, with no rain expected for the next 15 minutes from now. Just bear with me one moment whilst I go for a toilet break, so bear with me 1 second. So we're ready to go for the start of the race. We've got a formation lap to come, so we'll have a few more minutes before we see any green flag racing. Donington Park, host of the British Touring Car Championship. It's usually the venue for the car launch and the season opener to its championship. First opened in 1931, then closed in 1939 because of the war, and it wasn't reopened until 1977. Circuit, of course, owned by Motorsport Vision, which ex-Formula 1 driver Jonathan Palmer is involved with. And believe it or not, the cost of construction to the circuit apparently cost £12,000. 12 grand, which it may have been at the time when it was being over. It may sound like a lot of money, but it's almost nothing pretty much now in terms of how much it actually costs to construct a race circuit, no matter where it's been done. Suppose those two British touring cars every year except 1980, since the circuit was reopened in 1977. Host of the Formula 1 European Grand Prix in 1993, of course. Senna fans will remember that too well. One of Senna's greatest victories. The only time Formula 1 raced at this track. It was mooted as a potential replacement for the British Grand Prix, I remember, for 2010, until that fell through, unfortunately. So run down on the grid then. We've got Zdeněk Vorkl on pole, with Mauro Arsenio alongside him. We've got Jordan Myler and Craig Law on the second row. Will Freeman and Ben Milden make up row 3, ahead of Demian van der Waal and Nico Busov on the fourth row. Melvin Krause is 9th, ahead of Jeffrey Godefroy in 10th position, running out the top 10. We've got Sean Cool and Brandon Glover on row 6. Josh Clayton and Adam Sharp on the 7th row, followed by Adrian Hanovich and Matteo Di Stefano. Luke Prentice and Robo Fernker on row 9, followed by Ben Berryman and Will Rayner. Caruana and Pedro Postel on row 11. And at the back, the only driver on the 12th row is Stuart Hutchinson. Drivers are in their rows of 2 now as they approach Goddard's, which means we are raring to go for the 5th round of the Taco Tuesday series in the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. Can Zdeněk Vorkl take another step closer to the title after a disappointing showing last week? Or can the likes of Busov, Milden and co have anything to say on that? We're just waiting for the green flag and we'll be ready to go. And the green flag is waved and we are off, and Vorkl looks to fend off those as he goes through Redgate Corner. He's got the inside line, that gives him the high ground. Arsenio right round the outside of the fellow McLaren, and it looks like he's got his nose in front. So Vorkl takes the lead from Vorkl, and it looks like Myler's trying to get through in on the app there, but he's made contact with Craig Law as they go through the crater curves. Law won't like that one bit, so going through the old hairpin, it's Arsenio in the lead. Vorkl second, Myler third. We've got Law, Freeman, van der Waal in third, fourth, fifth and sixth places. Milden down a place in seventh. We've got Krause, Busov and Kull rounding out the top 10 through the first set. So we've got a car flying through the right-hander of McLean's, and that has caught Freeman out, and Freeman's down the order big time there. And it looks like van der Waal's been hit. He went through horribly through McLean's. He's had a really tough first lap so far, and he's got himself in a few skirmishes with other drivers as they come through Starkey Straight. Through the S's they come, and Freeman's trying to make up for lost time. He's down to 13th place. He's lost even more ground, so Freeman has had an absolute disaster of a first lap. And now they're going through the Melbourne hairpin. Sanyo looking to pull away. Incredible start he had right round the outside. He was able to just slingshot his way round Zdeněk Vogel. Vogel just didn't have anything to say on that. Now, Arsenio went into tonight's race 5th in the championship, 25 points off the top, so every point will mean everything to him. Looking to pull away from Vogel now already. Myler looking to stay right on Vogel's tail, hoping he keeps himself out of trouble. Now, Myler, who I can't remember whether he's actually already competed this season. He competed in Brands Hatch, but he didn't actually finish the race, unfortunately. He had a check-in, but didn't turn up last week for Austin, hence why he had been given a 5-point penalty to his championship table, which puts him on -5 coming into tonight, but a big haul of points tonight will for sure remedy that. And we've had an off on the exit of McLean's. It looks like the 713 of Caruana's spun round, but it's continued. And we've got a car in the pits, and that's Robbo Vernke. Has he been involved in someone's accident there, or did he actually come in for a pit stop? Couldn't quite tell on that angle there, but it doesn't look very good for him. If he was coming in for a pit stop, he'll have done that by now, I would have thought. But Vernke is going to be down a lap on the leaders, and that is probably the worst start to his race. Lap 2 completed then. Arsenio has a 1.4 second lead over Zdeněk Vogel. We are seeing a couple of changes in positions at the moment. I can't quite tell who's actually moved down the order, but what I can tell you is that Schonkel is up into 8th position, Van der Waal in P7. Got Busov in 6th, Milden in 5th place, making up for lost time. In front of him is Craig Law, one of which he was in the fight for the race win against. Craig Law was on course for victory until a late track limits violation had awarded him a drive-through penalty, which he had to take, and that dropped him from the race lead to 4th position. Arsenio doing the best job he can. Yet to win a race this season. Sure, he won in Taco Tuesday last season as well. So Mauro Arsenio did win out in round 7 of last season, as Vogel sets the fastest up of the race, and Craig Law is ahead of Jordan Myler now. So Law is in front of the fellow Ferrari. It doesn't look like... Vernke has rejoined the race now. It's Possel who's in the pits. It's quite a short circuit actually, is Donington, thinking of it. 4 kilometres to be exact, or 4.02 kilometres. British touring cars tend to use the shorter configuration for its races nowadays. They did used to use the older, or the Grand Prix layout. Felt that the one with the Goddard chicane thrown in was the better circuit for its races, and to be fair, it's put on quite a show over the years as that Goddard chicane. Going back to what I was saying about Mauro Arsenio, round 7 of last season would have been the Nürburgring, but if you remember, Melvin Kroes initially had the win but got taken away following a collision he was involved with someone in the final laps, which will have been, I think it was Arsenio that he came together with, I can't quite remember. But Arsenio has an opportunity to win it on the track this time. Vogel will give chase, but he'll be thinking more about the championship at this stage now, because he knows that he's ahead, crucially, of Busov, Godefroy and Milden. So if Arsenio was to win this race, the gap between him and Vogel would in fact be the same, because there's a 2-point difference between winning a race and finishing second, and there's a 2-point bonus on offer for the driver that sets the fastest up of the race, no matter where they finish. And Vogel has that right now. This is the ideal scenario for Vorkel at the moment. Will Freeman's in the pits for his mandatory stop. You can take at any time. Freeman will be hoping to get out sooner rather than later. He has struggled in the opening laps. Started 5th on the grid, but has had a really tough time of it. The track is in its optimum condition. 23 degrees air temperature, 29 degrees track temperature. Schonkel running in 9th place now because Jeffrey Godefroy is in front of him. We're looking to see how he's getting on. Godefroy's had a promising start to life in the pro category in Taco Tuesday. 2 6th places in the opening couple of rounds and 2 5th places in the last 2. 3rd place in the championship overall, 12 off the top. The bad news for him is that Vorkel, the championship leader, is running in 2nd place and Godefroy is in P8. He's got some work to do. He's got the McLaren of Van der Walle, which he needs to get past as Freeman exits the pit lane, albeit a lap down. But I think he's in front of Possel and Vernke, who had pitted earlier. So Godefroy looking to make amends as Arsenio's got the fastest lap of the race now, which is important for him. What was a 25-point lead a moment ago with Vogel having the fast lap and running in 2nd. Well, it's swung back in Arsenio's favour. As well as he's gained those 2 points, it's 2 points less for Vogel as a consequence. The gap between Arsenio and Vogel is now 21 points. Long way to go yet though. We're on lap number 6, approaching the end of it actually. We're expecting a considerable number of laps being completed. Bearing in mind there is a mandatory pit stop which every driver has to do before they finish. So I'd be tempted to say we are looking at around, well, it'll be over 30 laps because the lap times we are seeing will be under 2 minutes, and a lot of the lap times we've seen today have been under a minute and a half. So we're looking at around 40 laps, I would imagine. 1.5 seconds between Arsenio in the lead and Vogel in 2nd, and we've got Craiglor being threatened by Myler. He'll be desperate to get that 3rd place back. We ride on board with the number 21 Ferrari. He gets a better exit coming out of Coppice, and now he's going to pull alongside the Ferrari, and this could well be a change in position as they approach the S's. That'll be a very hard overtake to complete through there, and Myler backs out of it in the end. It was probably a poor decision actually to get the overtake done round the outside because the chicane just closes up on you and you're having to take a tight line through there, and given the curbs which you ride over, it can really knock the car's balance and send the car around, and he wisely backed out of it. But now he's going to have to make all that ground up again and get back through on the Northern Irishman. Milton running in 5th place, had a boost off. The 2 nose to tail. This time last week, this would have been the battle for the lead. This battle is for 5th place. And it looks like Godefroy is in front of Van der Walle now. He's up into P7. He got ahead of him in the last sector. I think Van der Walle has had a mare actually in the last sector, and he's going for the pits. So that could well explain his decision there. So he's decided to maybe get some damage repaired in the stop. Sunyo kicking on in the race lead. Do with a win tonight. Looking at the time of the race, it's 3:34 right now. Remember, the time lapse does increase twice as fast, or goes twice as fast as it would be in real life. So this race should be finished by around about 5 PM, which will still be daylight by then. Sunyo Vogel, Law, Myler, Milden, Busov, Godfrey, Hanovich is in P8 now, Clayton and Crows in the top 10. Sean Cole has struggled in the last few laps. He's running in P11, despite a number of drivers pitted in already. It looks like the drivers who are pitting in early are going to have their hands full of trying to stay on the lead lap or even just avoid having to be blue flagged, and that's going to be a real difficulty. That's why it's so crucial to not get involved in any mayhem in the opening laps. See what's going on further down the order, because we can see Busov is still behind Milden. Godfrey is looking to make up a 6-second margin on those two after being stuck behind Van der Waal for a good while. Glover and Hutchinson both in the pits, so they're getting their stops done now. It's a question mark as to when the leaders are going to decide to head for the pits. May decide to leave it as long as possible, who knows? This track can take life out of the tyres though. It's vitally crucial to decide when you decide to pit in, because the more you can serve earlier on, the more you can use up towards the end of the race. Two drivers in the pit lane, there will be Brandon Glover and Stuart Hutchinson. Arsenia's lead over Vogel is 1.9 seconds. Law is over half a dozen seconds further back in third place. We've got Myler in fourth. Got a battle for P7 hotting up. Godfrey and Hanovich are fighting over that. And there's Brandon Glover coming out of the pits, thankfully avoiding them. Like Stuart Hutchinson is leaving his box now. It doesn't look like he's going to have too much to be worried about in terms of needing to get out of the way of blue flags. 6 drivers have done their stops now. All 23 starters are still going in this race. And we can see a spin there for Hanovich in the Porsche, and he's gone round whilst fighting with Jeffrey Godfrey, and that sends him down the order into what looks like in P12 now, is it, or P13? Down to 14th place. That's bad news for him. So whilst he was running in P8 behind Godfrey, that spin at Coppice has sent him down the order, unfortunately. Sonio's still going in the lead. No problem. So Luke Prince is trying to get through on Berryman now in the fight for what is 12th position. And imagine that Hanovich will head for the pits. By going off the track by the way he was doing that, it can overheat the tyres. He's carrying on for now. A wise thing to do so. Lap 11 of the race, quarter of the way through in terms of time. Myler in fourth place behind Law. Milden and Busov. Seems to be calming down a little bit now. We can see Freeman's right behind Glover. That's actually a battle for position, but he's needing to move out of the way of other drivers via blue flags. This is not an ideal start to his race, unfortunately, for Will Freeman. Have to obey the blue flags here. Get on the back of Brandon Glover. May need to just pull to the side actually and let the 4-3-3 go through, although that's actually Van der Waal he's fighting with, so that's a battle for position as well, so he does not have to let Van der Waal through. Behind Van der Waal is Ben Berryman, who's a lap ahead of him. So Glover in 18th, Freeman 19th, and Van der Waal in 20th place. Sanyo coming on to Starkey straight. In to lead out up front. Orkel trying to keep up. He's lost ground a little bit though as Forkel trying to stay in touch. Nine seconds, needs 2 seconds now. I think Vorkel will be thinking more about the championship at this rate. Ball still in front of Myler for third place. About those further back, there's Josh Clayton who's running in 8th position. Seeing any more drivers heading for the pits while Freeman's trying to get past Brandon Glover. Van der Waal is trying to do so as well. Through red gate. Glover makes a mistake though, and that should give Freeman the opportunity to go through at the Craner curves, and that's a change for position. Freeman up to 18th place on track. Going through Starkey's Bridge, and this is McLean's that they're heading through. Van der Waal trying to get through on Glover for 19th. Right on board with the Dutchman as they go onto the straight. Yes, it's coming up. Van der Waal looking to get past, but thought better of it. Too much speed into the SS there, and he's lost crucial ground. Now he's having to move out of the way of Ben Berryman, who's lapping him. For third, Myler 4th, and it's Milden Busov 4th, 5th and 6th. Moore's gap to Vorkel is over 10 seconds now, and he's 12.5 seconds off the lead. But Adam Sharp in the pits, 237 Ferrari. So far this season for Sharp, he's finished every race. He's best of 6th last week. It's put him 11th in the championship overall. In regards to the Manufacturers' Championship, now the best 2 scores from each manufacturer apply for each round. And the gap at the top, going into tonight's race, it was 42 points in favour of McLaren. At the moment, their highest scores for this race is potentially going to be 1st and 2nd. Sharp hasn't left his box yet. Wait too long before he gets going, because there's a gaggle of cars coming through Goddard's now in his box, but he's going to leave himself with too much to focus on in getting out of the way of the traffic. And I think this is the problem with shorter circuits like Donington. See, the sun seems to have disappeared for a bit. Doesn't seem to be putting the drivers off too much. So I'll have a look at the time actually. It's only 3:54, so the time lapse is still multiplied by 2. So far so good for Mauro Senio in the lead of the race and has the fastest lap, and Vorkel is 2.4 seconds behind. .22 minutes into this race, nearly. It's like that Arsenio is away with it. I think he may try and stay out there for as long as he can. The longer you stay out there, the less you're having to give way to cars who are a lap ahead of you. Starkey's Bridge. This is McLean's that Arsenio is going through. 2.8 seconds between him and Vorkel. Craig Law is now 16 seconds off the lead. Freeman is now ahead of all those that have pitted in this race. Sunyan doesn't have to worry about cars in front because there aren't any in front of him. The gap between him and Vorkel, it was 2.9 seconds in the last sector. It's now 2.8. Law still under attack from Myler, and they've got Milden and Busov for company now. So we've got a 4-car battle for the final podium spot. Into turn 1, otherwise known as Red Gate. Di Stefano has come into the pits from P11. Approaching the end of lap 17, and Arsenio's gap to Vogel is 2.5 seconds. He's continuing to pull away from Craig Law as well. Stefano is exiting the pits. Is he going to be aware that the leaders are coming round? He rejoins just behind Arsenio. He was aware that he was coming through, and he could not hold him up. But at least he can stay in touch with him and avoid being blue flagged by Vorkel. It still throws Di Stefano into the mix for a good haul of points today. Crows is in front of Sean Cole for 8th. Cole is in front of Clayton for 9th as well. Not too many changes going on, although Myler is thinking about a move on Law for 3rd place, coming up towards McLean's, and Law keeps his nose in front of Myler. Busov and Milden in front of Busov, I should say. Their opportunities. Incredible what we are seeing. So they're all making their way through, and we've got an off at the old hairpin. That's the number 43 off the track. And it's Luke Prentice who's gone off by a long way, actually. I don't know how he's managed to do that. He's got back on track now. There's a lot of damage on that Ferrari for sure. You can see by the way the front left is moving around. He's pulling off the track. He knows that's his race over, unfortunately, for Luke Prentice. It's a shame because he was looking for a top 10 finish again. It doesn't look like he's going to get it here. So Luke Prentice is the first driver to retire from the race. Carawando's in the pits for his stop now. Probably rejoin behind number 68 of Petropostl. He's in last position, but he won't be because Luke Prentice has retired, and once they go past him, they'll move up a position no matter what. On his stop now, he's behind Petropostl. 23rd, but will become 22nd once they go past Luke Prentice. Number 69 in the pits now as well. I think Brandon Glover's in there. He is, and he's been in the wars as well. So that's him gone from this race. We didn't see what happened to him. What we do know is that he's well out of sync with the others, so that's him gone from the race, unfortunately. And looks like Myler has got in front of Law now for P3. Sorry that we missed that, as we were busy watching the other battles going on. But Myler is through ahead of Law for P3. Milden is still in front of Busov in 5th. Berryman and Rayner are in the pits now from 12th and 13th. They may have been higher up than that, actually, thinking of it, but the positions only update when the cars go through the sectors. Now we've seen some pit lane activity as Arsenio comes in from the race lead, and that hands lead over to Volkel, who's just lapped Matteo Di Stefano. Stefano's got ahead of Berryman and Rayner now. He's made the most of that. He's trying to unlap himself from Volkel. Now he can overtake leaders just as long as you can pull away from them. Craig Law's in the pits now from P4. He decides that after being overtaken by Myler, now is the time to head for the pit lane. Is Hanovic, who's going through Goddard's now, so I would have thought that Arsenio is going to rejoin behind him, although he's just exited his box, but he will rejoin behind him, no question. Halfway through the race now. Volkel in the race lead for now at least, pushing as hard as he can to make up the gap over Arsenio, who's just left the pits. Craig Law and Sean Cole have done their stops, and Volkel has decided to go for the pits one lap after. That's why he was pushing so hard as he was. This is a vital moment in the race now. Expect the length of being in the box to be as long as what Arsenio has done. This is crucial. Crucial point in the race as Jeffrey Godefroy comes in. He's stopped now, which leaves only 6 drivers yet to come in for their mandatory stops, with less than 29 minutes remaining. And it looks like Arsenio is going to get in front, is he, of Vorkl? He is, you know. And in fact, he's ahead of him by quite some way. So Vorkl's in-lap wasn't particularly the best. And he's still effectively in second place. So now in front, so that hands the lead over to Jordan Myler now, with Ben Milden second and Nico Busov third. Are any of them heading for the pits at the end of this lap? Around the last corner, and Myler goes for the pits. That hands the lead over to Ben Milden now. He's going on a longer first stint. Arsenio already nearly 5 seconds clear of Zidane Vorkl. Craig Law is in P3, effective, well, I say P3, he's P9 on track. Myler's in the pits now though, so this is an important time in the race for him to get his foot down. I hope that he'll get in front of Myler once Myler comes out of the pits. 4.8 seconds the gap, or 4.5 between Arsenio and Vorkl. Arsenio will soon be coming up to Adrian Hanovic, who has yet to stop in this one. Myler's done his stop now, but Law is coming through Goddard's. I think he's too far back, you know. He's too far back. So I think Myler should keep hold. Effectively what will be third position. But he's miles out in front of Law. And this may not play very well in the hands of Craig Law, because he was very close to Ben Milden and Nico Busov, who are running in first and second places on track. Now, are either of them going to come in at the end of this lap? Milden running wide there, but that could give him the benefit of a good exit. And they are continuing on for now. Are those two? Arsenio continuing to push on. Vorkl not giving up, although he's getting held up actually by Stuart Hutchinson, who's a lap down. Gets up the inside. May feel a little bit aggrieved by Hutchinson, but not moving out of the way a little bit earlier. Hanovic is coming into the pits, so Arsenio doesn't need to worry about getting held up by him. 2 retirements so far, Brandon Glover and Luke Prentice retiring virtually at the same time. Luke Prentice is there. Brandon Glover, I think, retired just before he did, or maybe just after. It was around about the same time anyway. But there is your race leader of Ben Milden, or temporary race leader Ben Milden, going through the S's and coming towards Melbourne hairpin. Despite his melodies earlier on in the race, Will Freeman's in 14th position. Adrian Hanovic has completed this stop now. And he's in front, he's behind Godefroy, he's behind Sean Cole, he's behind Matteo Di Stefano, but he's in front of Ben Berryman. And the top two have come into the pits, Milden and Busov. And Melvin Crows, as he go into the lead for now? He goes into the lead for now. Josh Clayton staying out as well. So at least Melvin Crows is going to have a short stint at the front. What's worth taking into consideration are track limit penalties. That was what cost a number of drivers last week in Austin. Arsenio's gap to Vorkl is now nearly 6 seconds. Milden and Busov, where are they getting out in comparison to Myler and Law? In fact, it's going to be very close between them. Myler's going to get in front of Milden in the end, but Law has lost 2 places to Milden and Busov. So Myler, who was running in Law, who was running in 4th place just before the pit stops between those four, has lost 2 positions in all of that. So Milden and Busov were able to complete overcuts on the man from Northern Ireland, and effectively are now in 4th and 5th. Not over yet by any means. That's a bad blow for Craig Law's race, that's for certain. Melvin Crow's continuing to stay out. He's hoping for a shorter pit stop. Crow's looking for possibly a top 7 finish or a top 8 finish. It's going to be very hard for him to achieve that, though, with the way this race has been panning out. Now, the gap between him and Arsenio is 15 seconds. It's not the most ideal. I mean, he's got the likes of Zdeněk Vogel, Jordan Myler, Ben Milton, Nico Busov, Craig Law. And he's probably going to aim to get out in front of Jeffrey Godefroy. I think that's probably going to be his primary target. Josh Clayton will be thinking the same as well. He's only a couple of seconds behind Crows as they are making their way through the back markers. That's Will Freeman, who's a lap down, trying to run lap himself, but he just needs to be careful not to run into the Dutchman. Crows decides to stay out for another lap, but Josh Clayton is heading for the pits from P2. Leaves Crows the only driver left in the race to make his mandatory stop. Snap 27, just over 21 minutes remaining. Freeman trying to unlap himself, staying in such that he's running in 14 places. Will Freeman, he's not going to get in front of Josh Clayton, that's for certain. Clayton looking for a top 10 finish. He's probably going to come out in the realms of Godefroy, De Stefano and Cull, but ideally he'll want to be in front of those. See that Freeman is clearly the faster driver than Crows. Won't want to run into Crows. When will Crows decide to head for the pits? Will it be at the end of this lap? The answer is yes. He goes in. The last driver to pit in does so with 20 minutes remaining. That hands the lead back to Mauro Arsenio, man from Portugal. And the man from the Czech Republic. Bothell is now 6.5 seconds behind Arsenio, but he's well clear of the battle for 3rd place between Myler, Milden, Busov and Law. Law's closed in on Busov now in the fight for what will be 5th position. Rose has left his box now and will rejoin in front of Godefroy. Although will he actually? No, I don't think he will. No, he's going to be well behind Godefroy. De Stefano's ahead of him, as is Sean Cull. Crows rejoins in 10th, ahead of Josh Clayton. He'll be on fresher tyres. That may give him the high ground. Might give him the advantage for the closing stages. So the top 2 look sewn up in terms of the positions they'll be finishing. The battle for the podium, though, is still very much up for grabs between 4 drivers. Jordan Myler in P3 in your picture. Behind him is the blue and yellow livery BMW of Ben Milden. We've got Nico Busov in the Porsche 95, and in the 226 Ferrari is Craig Law, and he's right on the gearbox of Busov as they come out of the S's. Got a fight in P7. Then we've got Di Stefano, who's had a spirited race, it has to be said. Disappointing qualifying earlier on. Now P7 is up for grabs between him and the man from Belgium ahead of him. There's Di Stefano. Sean Cole running in 9th. Rose looking to pick up the pace after just pitting. It's Caruana, who's had a low-key race, it has to be said. Just aiming to get to the end of the race without any issues. Senio coming up to lap. What looks like the number... I can't quite tell from that camera angle who it is. I think that's Will Rayner that he's getting through. So that's Rayner getting lapped by the leader. Go back to the battle for P3 because we can see Milden all over the back of Myler now. Now we're going to see a change of a change in position here between these two. Ignore the yellow flag. That's because Bradley Glover is in the pits and out. Through turn 1, red gate. And they are coming through the Craner curves now. Gap between Vogel and Myler is 22 seconds. Gap between Arsenio and Myler is half a minute. Coming up to a back marker now. Quite tell who that is in camera angle in front of us. Wisely moving out of the way though. That will be the man who's running in. That is Robbo Fernkert, who had a low-key race today in the number 39 McLaren. Busov should get through, and Craig Law also. The last quarter of the race, Arsenio on his way to victory, increasing the gap further and further and further. Vogel is content to finish second. If the positions remain as they are, as far as the championship is concerned, Arsenio will be 21 points off the lead. Ben Milden, who's running in 4th place, will not go in front of Busov, but will be in front of Godefroy. Busov will remain in 2nd position. Busov, who's running in 5th, is on course to get 32 championship points. Vogel is on course to get 38. So Vogel's gap at the top will be 12 points. Going into the next race in Valencia. New venue for Taco Tuesday in the Formula Racing League. 8.3 seconds between Arsenio and Vogel. Myler 3rd. Milden in P4. Got Craig Law all over the back of Busov. Through red they come again, the quadruplet in the battle for third place. Myler looking for his first points of the season. If it remains as it is, Arsenio will move in front of Milden and Godefroy into third place in the championship. Milden will stay fourth, Godefroy will move down 2 positions into fifth. Craig Law, by finishing 6th, will get 30 championship points. He'll move in front of Mara Bigansin, who hasn't been competing tonight. Will he move in front of Melvin Crows? I don't think he will, actually. Melvin Crows is running in P11, will get 20 championship points. And Clayton is ahead of Cull as the two fight over 9th position going through the S's. Clayton was in front for a moment there, but Cull isn't giving up without a fight by any means. Cull on the inside as they go through Melbourne Hairpin. And Cull is through and back into 9th place for now. It's good racing between the two, keeping it clean throughout. There's Craig Law, right on the back of Busov in the fight for 5th place. 8.9 seconds is the gap between Arsenio in the lead and Vorkel in second. Just takes one big mistake for Arsenio to throw it away and hand the victory to Vorkel. Eleven minutes to go. In terms of the amount of laps we're going to have, we've done 33. It takes around about a minute and a half to get the lap done. So we're probably looking at around 8 laps remaining. So we're looking at a 41 lap race potentially. I just hope the drivers have managed to build the cars up for long enough to get to the end of that amount of laps. It's Busov. There's Law in 5th and 6th. Full 9th, ahead of Josh Clayton in 10th. Those two still going at it. Bros will be getting involved in this shortly. He knows these two are going to keep on fighting for that position. Another battle further down the field between Will Freeman in 14th with Adam Sharp right behind. At least Freeman can get some points on the board. This is not going to be his best result of the season. He failed to finish last week. His best finish so far has been in round 2 of the championship, which will have been at Imola. Almost a lap down on the leaders actually are Freeman and Sharp. .2 seconds between Arsenio and Vorkel. The gap continuing to increase. As Myler just getting past Stuart Hodgson, who's been lapped. Won't want to get in the way of Ben Milden either. You can see he's just moving to the side there and allowing Milden to go through, no problem. Godefroy is continuing to pull away from Di Stefano, so 7th place looks to be sewn up for him as well. 5th twice, he's finished 6th twice. Looks like he's going to be in P7 today. And Cull is in front of Clayton and Crowe still, but will that remain in that order? Or will it remain in that order all the way until the end? Answers on the postcard. Reigning champion on course for his first points of the season. No way he's going to be defending his title this time around. Zdenek Volkel has been consistent all the way through the campaign. Even last week when he had his melodies, he still came back to finish in the top 10 in 9th place. See Busov getting past Stuart Hodgson now. It took him a bit of time to actually get through there. And Law is trying to make up, getting done in the stops. Got Cool, Clayton and Crows still fighting over 9th place. This is the best battle we've got on track right now. Crows looking for a way past. Can't quite do it there. We'll ride on board with him for a bit. They come towards Redgate once again. Adrian Hanovich is further back in 12th, over 8 seconds behind, so he's not going to be a threat to any of these three unless they come together. And Volkel's responded to Arsenio's pace. He's got the gap down to 8 seconds again. It's the gap now as they go through the next set of 7.7 seconds. So Volkel's coming back alive now and closing in on the gap. Or is it the fact that Arsenio can afford to just take his foot off the gas a little bit? Find out what the gap will be at the next sector as they cross over the start, going through sector 1. 7.7 seconds is still the margin. And now we can see Crows right round the outside there of Clayton at Melbourne Hairpin, but he can't quite make the move stick, but he'll have the inside into Goddard's, and Crows should be able to make his way past the Ferrari no problem, and he's done it. So Crows goes through. Can he make it 2 birds in 1 stone by getting past Sean Cool as well? Can't quite do it. He's on the fresher tyres, remember, is Melvin Crows. That's going to give him the advantage. He hasn't got long left in this race to make the move, so he needs to decide when he's going to do it. Might have to be Goddard's next time around where he gets it done, but he needs a clean and tidy lap throughout as they run wide through the old hairpin. Crows fends off Clayton, making sure he does not have an opportunity to get back through. Going through McLean's. And Cool runs wide, as does Crows. They're pushing very hard through every corner of every lap. And Crows gets a good exit coming out of Starkeys, or Coppice I should say. It's going to be an overtake into the Essence. It'll be very brave for Crows to get it done here. Probably do what he did with Josh Clayton last time around and get through there, but he's too far back to have a go, and it looks like Clayton is making a move of his own. Does he get up the inside into Melbourne Hairpin? He can't quite do it, and Crows remains in front. On lap 38 right now. Sonyo's managing the gap over Volkel, 7.8 seconds it is. Crows still behind the Aston Martin ahead. He's got enough time to get the job done. He knows he can do it. There's another couple of points up for grabs for him to keep his slim hopes of the championship alive. Josh Clayton cuts the corner there. He was going to go for a spin and he had to go over the curves. And that's lost him crucial ground over Crows. He nearly went into the gravel there, Clayton. He was very lucky not to be penalised for track limits either. And a drive-through penalty has been given to Craig Law. For the second race running, he's been given a drive-through in the closing stages. Now he's 17 seconds clear over Jeffrey Godefroy. Well, he's going to have to pick up the pace now and bridge out the gap over him. He's in fact coming into the pits at the end of this lap. That's a shame for Craiglaw, who'll be livid with that. Now is he going to get out in front of Jeffrey Godefroy? Or is Godefroy going to just sneak into 6th position? Go back to the battle for 9th place, because I think Crows is going round the outside of Sean Cull into Goddard's. Cull goes in too deep. Crows gets him back. And they nearly bang wheels as they go through. They bang wheels in there. That's naughty, that, from the pair of them, to be honest with you. Cull goes to the outside. Lets Cull go back through there, up the inside, but I think Crows will have the inside line, the high ground through the Craner curves, and the Dutchman goes through and goes up into 9th position. So the Dutchman getting past the Scot. And Craiglaw is rejoined behind Jeffrey Godefroy, so if he's going to get through ahead of him, he'll have to do it on the track. He's got enough time to do it. So Law's down to P7 thanks to that drive-through. But he could get 6th place back if he's lucky. So through the S's once more. Is this going to be a change in position for Craiglaw to make a move up the inside, or in fact the outside that will give him the inside into Goddard's? He thinks about it, will ride on board with the 226 Ferrari. Arsenio is on his penultimate lap right now, as he's making his way through the back markers, including Will Freeman. So next time out will be the last lap for Mauro Arsenio. We want to go back to the battle for 6th place because this is hotting up. Craiglaw looking to get through at the moment. He's got 2 more laps to do it. And Jeffrey Godefroy, who's finished in 6th position on a couple of occasions already this season, could make it 3 out of 5 unless Craiglaw can get back through ahead of him. And the pit window is closed, everyone's done their stops anyway, so no need to worry about that. Mauro Arsenio has started the final lap now as Craiglaw goes for the move but makes contact with Jeffrey Godefroy into McLean's. That is really clumsy from Craiglaw, punting the Belgian off the track. And I have to say, Godefroy will be absolutely furious. And that's cost him a bundle of places as well. That will be investigated after the race. That was just too desperate, too clumsy of a manoeuvre from Craiglaw, and that'll be a penalty coming his way after the race, I would imagine. Godefroy's down to 11th now. He'll just want this race to be over as quickly as possible. Arsenio on Starkey Straight on the final lap as the clock reaches 0. And it's been a phenomenal race. That overtake at the start, round the outside into Redgate onto Dennett Volkel, was what won him it. And he controlled the race from there. And what a way to get himself back into genuine championship contention. Moving up into 3rd place in the championship thanks to today's results. Moves to within 21 points of the leader, Sir Dennett Volkel, as he completes his final lap. Mauro Arsenio's got 1 more corner to get through, which is Goddard's hairpin. And the checker flag will be in sight for the man from Portugal. Mauro Arsenio is about to take his first victory of the season, and doing so in style. He wins in Taco Tuesday in Donington in the Pro category. What a race from the 99 McLaren. So Dennett Volkel will come home in 2nd place, back on the podium again after a difficult showing in Austin last week. And there's Jordan Myler, who's set some brilliant pace throughout tonight after topping the practice session. Qualifying well, and a well-deserved podium going in the way of him. 3rd place for him, Ben Milden, and a respectable 4th place. He'll be happy with that. Nico Busov in 5th, and then you have to go a long way back to Craiglaw, who had served that drive-through penalty. But imagine another penalty will be going his way after that collision with Jeffrey Godefroy at McLean's. But for now, at least, he'll be in 6th position. And Di Stefano has I think he's run out of fuel on the last lap. As Di Stefano, So if he has, that 7th place is going to go in the way of Melvin Krause. Josh Clayton 8th, Sean Cole 9th, and Jeffrey Godefroy will be in 10th place, which is by no means... Oh, he's just been overtaken by Hanovic on the last lap. So Hanovic finishing 10th, Godefroy will be 11th. And I imagine there'll be some words between him and Craig Law afterwards. And Stefano retired on the last lap, and if he's run out of fuel, that probably will go down as a DNF. Provisionally anyway, Freeman 13th on the lap down, Adam Sharp 14th, Ben Berryman in 15th, then it's Damon van der Waal, Will Rayner, Stuart Hodgson, Robert Fernker, Pedro Postel and Caruana, the rest of the finishers, with Luke Prentice and Brandon Glover failing to finish. But there is your race winner. It is Mauro Arsenio in the 99 McLaren here at Donington in the Pro category in Taco Tuesday. Very well done to him on his first win of the campaign. Waiting for the final classification to appear on your screen, and we'll run down on the provisional race results before we end tonight's broadcast. Hope you enjoyed that as well. Next rounds of the championship, we've got Valencia next week, which will be a 90-minute special. And it's Solder and Paul Ricard to wrap up the 8-round campaign. A reduced calendar compared to what we had in previous seasons, but I suppose it opens up the championship for everyone that's competing. 21 laps completed as well. So here's your race result. Mauro Arsenio, your race winner, with Zdenek Volkel in 2nd place. Jordan Myler bagging his first points of the campaign in 3rd place. Ben Milden 4th. Nico Busov 5th. Craig Law in 6th place, and without a doubt will be under investigation for the collision with Jeffrey Godefroy at McLean's. Melvin Krause up to 7th place at the end, with Josh Clayton 8th. Sean Cole 9th. Adrian Hanovic in 10th place. Jeffrey Godefroy in a disappointing P11. He'll be livid with Craig Law after the contact with him. Mercedes Stefano ran out of fuel on the last lap, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep hold of 12th position. Will Freeman 13th, Adam Sharp, Ben Berryman, Damon van der Waal, Will Rayner, Stuart Hodgson, Robert Fernker, Pedro Postel and Caruana, the rest of the finishers. Luke Prentice and Brandon Glover were the 2 drivers that did not make it to the checker flag. As it stands in the championship, Mauro Arsenio moves up to 3rd place overall. Nico Busov is still 2nd, as far as I know, after finishing in 5th position, which will give him 32 championship points, with Volkel picking up 38. So the gap at the top between Volkel in the lead and Busov in 2nd is 12 points. The next round of the championship will be in Valencia, as I've already mentioned, this time next week. Do make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching us on Catch Up, or if you've been watching us on Twitch live, then do make sure you follow the channel, and then you can keep up to date with all the action that is happening within the league. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching us, and we'll do it again next week at a new venue in Valencia. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.